All right, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. Excuse me. So, like I mentioned in a couple other videos, we're playing catch up this weekend. So, caught up on a lot of Shonen Jump stuff with the Kane, Goku Rakugai, Kaiju Spy Family. We're getting caught up with some Yona Of The Dawn read-throughs. Because I'm now only 2 volumes away from catching up. Like I mentioned in the last video, volume 38 is the latest one that's available here, and right now my library still has it on order, so it's going to be a little while before I get my hands on that. So depending on how this next volume goes, I might just power through and try to get the next 2 volumes done, but we'll see how that goes. But like I mentioned, a lot of great content came out this weekend, so if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. It does help me out a lot, and it means that when these video drops, you will get notification right away, so you can go and enjoy all that great content. And if you haven't already, please do consider commenting and liking these videos as well, because it lets me know that you like this content and you want to see more like it, and also lets YouTube know the same, and it promotes my videos to a wider audience, which really helps me out a lot in trying to grow this channel and also just be motivated as a content creator. But without further ado, let us dive into it with Yona of the Dawn, Volume 36, with story and art by Mizuho Kusanagi. As we have Chapter 205, A Cry in the Night. And we have, Mian Mian confronting Huck in his cell. As he's like, how many was I up to? It's like, how should I know? It's like 6,544. He's like, great. She says 6,544. He's like, great, thanks. 6,545. And she's like, he's continuing? It's like, so who might you be? It's like, wasn't there a guard out there? I do love her with his bloody sword on his shoulder being like, was there? It's like, you don't strike me as some rescuing prince. And he was thinking of himself as a princess. Like, look at those muscles. What did he do to get thrown in here? It's like, he could be useful. It's like, do you want me to be a prince who saves you? He's like, oh, nah, I'm fine. And she's just like doing her simpering act. She's like, really? You won't run away with me? He's like, why'd your speech change like that, Prince? Who are you supposed to be? She's like, I accidentally spoke normally to begin with. So much for seducing him. It's like, don't you want out of here? Or out of there? Give me a sec. Does it give me... I literally just forgot what her name was, even in... Maignan. What is it? Maignan. It's like, I'm fine for, don't you want out of there? And he's like, I'm fine for now. It's like, for now? There are 4 guards out there. Aren't you some ruthless criminal? They're clearly going to kill you. He's like, 4? What a joke. They're really not expecting me to break out, huh? And he's like, if Suwon decides to kill someone, that's that. Even a relative or a woman. And he's like, are you related to Suwon? She's like, oh, damn it. It's like, no, of course not. And he's like, do you know where the palace garden is? It's like, sure, I've been there many times. It's like, what about it? It's like, I'll help you out. It's like, huh? It's like, I said I'm fine. I don't even know who you are. Find someone else. She's like, I've chosen you. He's like, how come? It's like, you're easy to talk to. And he's like, thanks. It's like, fellow prisoner should get... And then you have a throb as her head starts spiking with the pain. The prison doesn't usually build friendships. And as she slumps over, he's like, what's wrong? He's like, hey. And she's like clutching her head. It's like, damn it, am I doomed to die wherever I go? And you see a clank as she takes the lock off Huck's cell. It's like, come on. It's like, listen. It's like, do as I say, come with me. It's like, lead me to the garden, I'll let you go. He's like, I refuse. He's like, isn't there someone out there you want to see? And he's like, there is. Desperately, actually. But right now, if I obey my emotions, she'll try to protect me. I decided to wait here and not cause her trouble. You're free to go if you want, but even with that door open, I'm staying put. Your head's still throbbing, and she just looks like annoyed, and she just turns a swing and runs out of the prison. You see, she's cut down another guard. She's like, which way's the garden? Oh, she's looking for her little squirrel. And her little squirrel's apparently named Ho. She's like, Ho, come on out. Ho, let's go home. She's like, let's go home. And she thinks back to Suwon saying, that doesn't really interest me, and I despise the Crimson Dragon King. And the other envoy's telling her, you have a gift for dealing with His Imperial Highness, don't you? And Hawk's telling her, you're free to go if you want, I'm staying put. She's like, Ho, I came here planning to leave everything but Ho behind. I don't know where to go now. And she hears a rustle and she swings her sword behind and pulls it. And she says, huh? And she sways and collapses from the pain. And you have a murmur. And you see that Ho's just like buried under the blankets as I was watching her. And Sinha's like, she's scared. And Yona's like, it'll be okay. I'll take you to Maignan today. Hang in there. And you have, oh, Your Highness, as Minsu comes in and goes, apparently Maignan isn't in her cell. It's like, what? Did she escape? It's like, likely so, but strangely, the 4 guards at Lord Huck's cell were found stabbed. What's more, his cell was unlocked for some reason. We suspect it's connected to Mainyan's escape, so Lord Huck is being questioned. And Yona's like, Huck was in his cell, right? It's like, that's right. I'm told he was in there working out. And Yona's like, working out? It's like, we're currently searching for Maignan. And Yona's like, it'll be okay. I'm sure they'll find her soon. It's like, but if they do find her, her situation will be even worse because she escaped. It's like, where could she be right now? And Jaeha's like, I find it strange that Huck's guards were stabbed and his cell was unlocked. And she's like, Huck didn't do any of that. He's like, of course not. But I can't help thinking that something untoward happened. And Zeno's like, don't go down that path, not in front of the young lady. And Yona's like, untoward? Minsu's like, come to think of it, there are rumors that Maignan seduced her guards. Jaeha's like, I knew it! She was trying to go after Huck. And Yona just smacks him with, you're definitely mistaken. And you see Yun in the library with, so diligent, still studying herbs? It's like, uh-huh. So the South Kai delegates left, but if we go to war, I'd like you on the medical team. And he's like, I'll think about it. It's like, if the delegation's left, I guess Yona's no longer suspected of murder. Thank goodness they didn't take her away. I don't know if our alliance with King Suwon is going well, but the people in Hiryu Palace don't seem so bad when you talk to them. I think it was good for me to come here. It's a bit embarrassing that I used to think I knew everything about them, based only on my bad experiences with them. But I still don't think it's right for them to say that what happened to Yona couldn't be helped. And you see Fwump as he's taking a bunch of medical texts back to his residence. And he's like, oh, you're awake? And he sees that he's the one that rescued Maignan, and he's apparently bandaged her up. He's like, it's best if you don't get up. I'll change out your bandages. And she lashes out with a, who are you? He's like, I don't have my sword. I could take this kid barehanded. She's still swaying from her wounds. He's like, don't move too much. Your wounds will reopen. He's like, I'm Yun, an apothecary. He's like, an apothecary? He's like, where? He's like, we're inside Hiryu Palace. You passed out from your injuries yesterday. It seemed risky to leave you, so I brought you here. I don't want trouble. Just stay and recover quietly, okay? She's like, is this a trap? He has to be suspicious of me. And he's like, some dumpling soup? It's good for stimulating an empty stomach. She just takes a bowl, takes a little sip, and is like, oh, this is incredible. He's like, I'm glad you're eating. There's more if you want. She takes another sip. And you see the South Kai Envoy delegates leaving as having a conversation with, we're finally heading back to Yukio. So that was a miserable experience. Even if His Imperial Highness orders it, I'd like a break from diplomatic missions for a while. Yeah, someone's coming. It's like, it's General Val. It's like, I've come to escort you. It's like, much appreciated, General. We're exhausted. There were many issues besides Rantan's death. Koka's king and that prince are devious. Hey, we have our first brown character, I think, in the series. And you have, may I ask where Lady Maignan is? It's like, Lady Maignan, we were told she returned to Yukio ahead of us. I dare say she's fawning over His Imperial Highness by now. What a wonderfully wild princess she is. Whereas General Val is looking confused by that news. So you have Chapter 206, discarding things one by one. You have, having left Koka, the delegation finally reached Yukio in South Kai. And you have Emperor Chagol, the delegation has returned. He's like, did you bring that princess Yona who killed Rantan? And he's like, huh? He's like, did Suwon apologize or beg forgiveness? He's like, we're terribly sorry. King Suwon prevented us from pursuing anything concerning Rantan. It's like, what did you gain from this trip? And you see Chagol, Supreme Ruler of South Kai, is this skeezy, bald-looking motherfucker with this tattoo of, like, I don't know if that's a phoenix or some other bird on his head. It's like, anything aside from eliminating that meddlesome Rantan. You should have refused the funeral and returned at once, fools. Now tell me, where is Maignan? And like, unfortunately, Lady Mainyan's current whereabouts are unknown. And like, we're so sorry. In Koka, we were told she had departed ahead of us. We had no idea. And you have I'm surprised she's not back yet. You have Empress Shantae, first consort. It's like, knowing her, she's enjoying herself somewhere. She's always so uninhibited. And they're like, that's right. When Lady Mainyan met King Suwon, she's extremely friendly with him. She later seemed strangely confident that he'd want to see her again, soon after she was gone. It's like, my, are you suggesting she found her way into his bed? It's like, I wonder if that's why she joined the delegation. And you see General Val meeting with another eye patchy bro, going, General Hitan, it's like, is it true that Mainyan, or Lady Mainyan, has gone missing? It's like, I'm not certain, but she hasn't returned. It's like, I had a funny feeling about that conference in the start. It's like, you mean Lord Rantan's death? It's like, he was clearly eliminated by one of us. Do you think Lady Mainyan got mixed up in that? It's like, no, I'm sure she knew what would happen. Before leaving, she came to say goodbye. He's like, how are you? I'll be accompanying the delegation. And Val's like, huh? It's like, I came because Ho said she wanted to see your face. See ya! And Val's like, I felt like she might not be planning to come back. She'd been wanting to go to Hiryu Palace. And, what was it? Hitan is like, even a favorite concubine must have enemies. She was best suited to being a general, though. What can she have hoped to do in a nation we might crush? And Huck's like, I'm being released? And Keishuk goes, we're requesting your cooperation. We need you to track down and capture the escaped woman known as Mainyan. He's like, you want me to capture her? It's like, she's from South Kai and has top secret information concerning Koka. She also killed several soldiers. We must capture her before there are more casualties. And he's like, is the information about Suwon? And Keishuk's silent and he's like, tell me, you locked me up to protect that secret. If you're desperate enough to let me out, this must be huge. And you see Keishuk just turning heel and walking away. He's like, well, I'm going out for a bit. That's Yuan talking to Mainyan. Go on, make sure you rest. And as soon as he leaves, she goes over to the chest and he's like, found it. Who's storing a sword up in a cupboard? And she grabs it and peeks outside. And he's like, oh. And she sees some guards. Excuse me. And they are whispering about her going, I heard the escaped woman's a long-haired beauty. I'd like to get a look. It's like, are you stupid? She killed several guards. Stay alert. It's like, they're searching for me. I need to find Ho as soon as possible. That Yunkit has to be suspicious of me. He might bring someone. It's kind of like grabbing her hair. She thinks back to, I heard the escaped woman's a long-haired beauty. She's going to do like a Yona thing, like cut off her hair at some point now. Here, it's getting late when Yun's like, it's getting late. I need to hurry back. As soon as I said it. Oh, man, she looks so much better with the short hair. And you hear her, what are you doing? And she looks at Yun surprised. She has indeed cut her hair into like a short boyish cut. And she's like, looking for something. He's like, I see. He's like, why'd you cut your hair? And she tries to run away. He's like, hold on, wait. He's like, how did you know? The guards didn't recognize me. He's like, I never forget a patient's face. And she stumbles again with, ugh. He's like, oh, come on. What are you doing? You're still injured. And she's like, Ho. It's like, Ho? It's like, she looks like this, about this big. She's trying to like mime what the squirrel looks like. And Yuan's like, does she mean Pokyu? It's like, she must be hungry. And is that Yuan wiping that? Yeah, Yuan's like kind of wiping away the dirt on her. And he's like, I'll look for Ho tomorrow when there's more light. For now, let's head back and have some steamed barley. I don't have a bath, but I'll heat some water so you can wash up. And she's all surprised, like, with just the two of us there? Are we going to wash each other? You're a naughty kid, aren't you? It's like, of course not. I've got a partition. And you see her in the bath and she's cleaning herself. He's like, and Hyun's like, I'm feeling awkward since you said that. I'm fine with medical exams when he's just grinding some herbs into some paste. And she's like, are we bathing each other? It's like, I'll pass. And she's just smiling and she's teasing him. It's like an injured woman with her hair hacked short. It's like, for some reason, it's making me think of when I first met Yona. And he hears a knock on the door as Yun's like, yes, who is it? It's like, at this hour? And Huck's like, hey. It's like, huh? What? How are you here all of a sudden? And he's like, I wondered how you were. It's like, I've been worried sick about you. I feel like I have an idiot son who left the countryside to become a foot soldier. It's like, Yun, I'm aiming to be a personal bodyguard, certainly not a foot soldier. He's like, what's up? Are you on leave? He's like, yeah, do you have a minute? Yun's like, huh? Right now's a bit. Can we talk outside? It's like, you have company? It's like, not exactly, but... It's like, huh? General Judo? It's like, why are you... It's like, I'm going in. It's like, huh? It's like, hold on! And you see Mian Yan tossing down the partition as she's lashing out with her sword. And you have a what? As Judo blocks the strike, and she's lashing out with more. And she grabs a nearby candle holder and throws it at Huck, who dodges and shields Yun, and then uses it to block her sword strike and knocks her down. And she's like, "You're that man who was doing push-ups, sit-ups in the dungeon. Weren't you staying in your cell?" And he's like, "I was asked to capture you." And Yun's like, "Huh? Dungeon? Capture her?" It's like, long story. She was with the South Kai delegation. She's already killed several soldiers. It's like, I heard she was wandering the palace with a sword, so I came to check on you. I had no idea she'd be here. And Judo's like, "She can't be allowed to live. We're taking her in." Yun's like, "What?" It's like, "Of course. You're an enemy too. I figured." She's like, "I'm not going to let them kill me. I won't be killed by the likes of Suwon." And she dashes forward towards Huck. And Yun intercepts and goes, "Wait, Thunder Beast." She's like, "Thunder Beast? This guy?" It's like, "This is dangerous, Yun. Step aside." He's like, "I'm sorry, but she's injured." And Judo is like, "She's killed our soldier. She deserves no pity." He's like, "You're right, but still." It's like, "I did think she seemed dangerous." It's like, "Still." It's like, "But." It's like, "She's my patient. It may not be right to defend someone who's killed others, but I doubt she wanted to die either. I dislike violence. I'm acting selfishly and that might cause a lot of people trouble. I don't know what the right thing is. I'm sorry, but I'm here to study medicine. I came here because I want to heal people. That means everything to me." And you see, she's surprised by his little monologue. So you have chapter 207 this side. And you see, again, she slumps to her feet with, like, clutching her head. He's like, "Are you okay? Did your wounds reopen?" And he's like, "No, that's not what's hurting. It's the crimson sickness." And he's like, "Crimson sickness?" It's like, "You can't heal me of it. One way or the other, I'll be dead soon. I doubt Suwon's long for this world either. Getting rid of me won't change that." And Yun's like, "Suwon doesn't have long? What do you mean? I've never even heard of this illness." And Huck's like, Yun, and he motions for him to be quiet. And you hear a rattle and it's like, "Someone's outside." And Judo just like slams the door back. And he's like, "Minsu, it's just you." It's like, "Sorry for startling you." It's like, "I felt like my heart was about to stop. I heard Lord Huck was headed here after being released, but we'll talk later, General Judo." And you see him heading inside. It's like, "She's suffering from some disease. I don't know." And Minsu's like, "I'll give her this medicine. Let's get her laid down." He's like, "Minsu." It's like, "General Judo, I spoke with Advisor Keishuk earlier. I'll be looking after her." And he's like, "What?" He's like, "Under surveillance, obviously. She can help us learn more about this illness. It's for His Majesty's sake." And Judo whispers like, "Wait, we shouldn't let that boy hear about this." He's like, "Mainyan's already told him. It's far too late for that. If you try," and Huck's like, "If you try to imprison or injure Yun like you did with me, you'll be going through me." And Minsu's like, "There's one way to protect Yun. That's for him to become my assistant." And Yun's like, "Your assistant?" It's like, "If you do that, you won't be harmed. It's a sneaky move, though." And Yun's like, "What do I have to do?" He's like, "I'm the king's personal physician. If I fail, I die. I also need to protect the nation's most important secrets with my life. Naturally, my assistant faces the same risks, but it's a way to escape the danger you're facing right now. I already wanted to ask for your help, but I didn't want you to get you involved in the royal family's secrets. But I overheard what you said just now. When it comes to medicine, I'm confident that you'd never betray a patient. I'll reason with His Majesty and Advisor Keishuk. Yun, will you join me as the king's personal physician?" And he goes, "I'll still be able to treat her too, right?" It's like, "All right, I'll do it." And you see with Suwon going, "Very well, let's keep Mainyan imprisoned in the palace." He's like, "Your Majesty, would you grant my new assistant Yun permission to leave the palace?" And he's like, "Permission to leave?" He's like, "I'd like him to harvest some herbs I haven't tested yet. I realize that the crimson sickness is no ordinary illness, but as your physician, I'd like to explore all possible options." It really feels like we're heading towards the theory I have. We'll talk about that at the end. He's like, "Very well. It's like, one more thing. May Lord Huck accompany Yun as his guard?" And he's like, "Isn't there anyone else who can go?" It's like, "The plant is incredibly rare, and if someone from the palace goes, they might not be allowed to have any. And as with the search for Mainyan, it'd be best if it's done by someone who already knows that you're ill." And Suwon's like, "I doubt Huck would fetch medicine for me." He's like, "Actually, he's already agreed." And you have Advisor Keishuk. I didn't think you would allow Lord Huck to leave. And he goes, he probably won't cause problems for His Majesty while Princess Yona and the Dragon Warriors are in the palace. I wouldn't normally take such a dangerous risk, but right now our highest priority must be healing His Majesty. As it stands, I can only wait for him to recover. It makes me want to pray to some higher power. And you see later as they're checking on Maignan, Yun's like, Minsu says you'll care for you while I'm gone. So that sleep medicine was really effective. Judo's like, you should probably know that she's Chagol of South Kai's favorite concubine. And he was like, that's who she is? This guy had no idea she was so skilled with swords. And Huck's like, she's certainly not some ordinary princess. She's the most gifted swordswoman I've ever seen. It's like, Thunder Beast, if Yona hears that, she'll want to start training immediately. It's like, Her Highness is amazing for having learned so much so quickly. And Mainyan's like, I heard you're the Thunder Beast. Yun's like, yikes, you startled me. It's like, you were awake? It's like, I heard Thunder Beast. It's like, that's me. So? It's like, do you belong to Princess Yona? It's like, well, I guess so. And she's like, I said I'd take everything of hers for myself. It's like, how do you expect to do that? It's like, it's not fair. She has the Dragon Warriors, the Thunder Beast, a healthy body, a comfortable life. And Huck's like, I doubt anything I say would get through to you, but I hope you listen to the person who's desperately trying to cure your condition. And Yun's like, no, it's fine. I don't mind. And he's like, I'll be away for a bit. I'll make sure you get better. Wait and see. I'm sorry I won't be able to look for Ho with you. It's like, there's no way I'll get better. But even if I die, I'll always think of you as the person who saved my life. He's like, hey, Thunder Beast? He's like, huh? It's like, I'm glad you're coming, but are you okay being away from Yona? He's like, Whitesnake and the others are there. She'll be okay. He's like, that's true, but you weren't aiming to be my bodyguard, right? And Huck's like, sometimes I wish I could split into 3 people. And he's like, all 3 of you would just run to Yona. It's got to say that too, but it sounds obnoxious. He's like, anyway, the first one would make sure you're protected. The second would keep Whitesnake and the others alive. And the third would keep Her Highness from crying. That's a lot. It's like, I sure am busy, huh? So let's get going and hurry back. And sure, please wait, Your Highness! What the hell? And you see Yona just climbing out of her room onto the little wooden beam ledges outside her building. And she's with a leap, which goes with a giant flump on the ground below. And she's like, just in time. You see Huck just like running arms outstretched, stopping right in front of her. He's like, couldn't quite catch her. And he's like, hey. And Yun's like, Yona, are you injured? It's like, Yun, it's been ages. It's like, Minsu filled me in. You're his assistant now, and you're off to get some senju herbs, right? He's like, yeah. And Jaeha's like, Yona, you should have said you wanted to come down. He's like, oh, sorry. I was in a rush and I couldn't help myself. And Huck's like, couldn't help yourself? That was dangerous. Don't copy Droopy Eyes. You'll break something. It's like, it's fine. I've done it plenty of times before. It's like, don't do it at all. It's like, Droopy Eyes, keep a close eye on her. There's no telling what she'll get up to otherwise. He's like, too true. It's like, it's really okay. I've been training. It's like, Yona, if you rile up the Thunder Beast too much, he'll split into 3 to keep tabs on you. It's like, there's no need for that. All 3 of you should stay with Yun. And Huck's like, she doesn't even need even one of me? And she's looking all embarrassed. She's like, please, take care of Yun. It's like, Yun is taking on a dangerous job while keeping a life-threatening secret. And Huck's like, I understand, my mistress. And you see him just kneeling in front of her. Hottest thing a man can do. Yeah, honestly, I never get a chance to tell her I missed her, or... It's like, Huck, don't lower your head. He just stands up, just like, surprised, looking at her. He's like, I can't tell him I want to see his face. And you see Jaeha saying, tell Captain Gigan I said hello. Yun's like, okay. And he's like, Ho. And he finally notices the other squirrel on Sinha's shoulder. He's like, huh? You have a friend, Pukyu? And he's like, Ho? He's like, Ho! You're Ho, aren't you? Ho? And he just like, Ho? He's like, I found Ho! It's like chapter 208, Afraid of Never Waking Up. And you see Maignan being like, let me out. And Judo's like, I told you I can't. It's like, you have me watched. I won't run away. It's like, you realize you're being treated well. You're not even in a cell. It's like, they took my weapons and I failed to seduce him. She's attempted it. It's like, I can't even search for Ho. It's like, ugh. Do you have a moment? It's like, Princess Yona? It's like, don't worry, it'll only be a minute. And she's like, Princess Yona? And you see a leap and a ho! It's like, huh? It's like, ho! It's like, you're not her. And you see ow on her instead. It's like, oh! It's like, there's another cutie? And your friends? And Cinna's like, oh, it's a cutie? It's like, oh, thank goodness she seems well. And Yona's like, she was lost. Owl brought her to us. I'm glad you're reunited. Yoon was so happy when he saw her. It's like, Princess Yona took care of Ho? It's like, okay, we're off. Come on, Ow. He's like, wait, could I touch her? It's like, huh? You mean Ow? It's like, yes, her. And you see it, cute. That's Ow just latches onto her face hugger style. It's like, Ow, you're too close. She's like, thank you. And you're home? And a tromp, 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 tromp. It's like, what's that noise? And Judo's like, it seems the fire and water tribe troops have arrived. And Yona's like, already? It's like, we're on the brink of war. Koka's entire army will advance toward South Kai soon. And Jaeha's like, I thought you'd at least wait for Huck to return. Isn't he going into battle too? And Judo's like, the enemy won't wait for us, but that's fine. Even without the Thunder Beast, our forces are strong enough that we should be victorious without major losses. And Mian Yan's like, why can't I say her name properly? What the hell is her name? Hold on. Sorry, give me a second. Minyan. It's just an odd name for the way it rolls off my tongue. And you see Minyan just lounging nearby going, don't underestimate them, old man. And Judo's like, old man? It's like, South Kai has twice as many soldiers as Koka and can request reinforcements from North Kai if need be. Emperor Chagwell's gained a lot of power these past 2 years. He'll do anything to win. Even if Koka has been doing well recently, Suwon is afflicted with the Crimson Sickness. His troops have no future. South Kai has some tremendous generals too. And Judo's like, are you really Chagwell's favorite concubine? Are foul-mouthed women beloved in South Kai? I'm loving her, man. I wish she'd stayed evil, but I am loving her. It's like, oh, that. I was raised in a male household and I used to be a general. Dainty speech won't rally the troops. This is how I usually speak. And they're all like, a general? And Judo's like, you were a general? That explains your combat skills. It's like, in front of Chagwell, I'm a lady. It's like, remember how charmingly I tried to seduce you? And he's like, you call that charming? Ridiculous. Chagwell's like, what? She tried to seduce you? It's like, don't look at me. And Yona's like, you went from general to favorite concubine? And she thinks, if I gain power and status by getting close to Chagwell, I might be able to go to Hiryu Palace one day. Maybe I'll meet the 4 dragon warriors. I'd be able to share my pain with Suwon, who shares my bloodline. It's all the blood I coughed up to get here was for nothing. She goes, Koka will fail. It stands no chance against Kai. And Gija's like, Koka has the 4 dragons. How many soldiers Kai has is irrelevant. And she's like, I'm relieved that Huck went with Yun, but now I feel a bit uneasy. It'll be fine. They'll be back soon enough. You hear knock knock and Yellow Dragon Zeno. His Majesty wishes to see you. It's like, only Zeno? It's like, yes. And he's like, it won't take long. And you see that in Suwon's office. He's like, I've brought him. He's like, thanks. And you see that Suwon's got like huge bags under his eyes. He's like, please come in. And apparently this reminds Zeno of the original Crimson Dragon King. And he's like, thank you for coming. And Zeno's like, if you're going to take a break, you should get some real rest. He's like, unfortunately, I'm too short on time. Please sit wherever you like. And Zeno's like, what do you want? He's like, I'm busy, so I'll get right to the point. Zeno, are you at all interested in the throne? Oh my god. Zeno's just like shocked by this. Like, not at all. It's like, what about politics? Not at all. It's like, as I expected. He's like, huh? Is that all you wanted to ask? It's like, I figured I had nothing to lose. He's like, and if I'd been interested, it's like, you need to be trained to rule, so I had to know as soon as possible. He's like, is that how you saw me? Like, I considered you a possibility and thought I'd take a chance. And he's like, is there no one else who can succeed you? The Sky Tribe has military officers and civil servants who've been educated since childhood. They're skilled, but they lack a decisive factor. I'd hope for someone with a broader vision, unconstrained by their tribe, with strong vitality and self-discipline. Then I realized, an exceptional individual who can't be killed had appeared before me. Someone who knows history well without biases. No good could come of an immortal taking the throne. It's like, you'd be fine. You've lived 2,000 years and your spirit hasn't been crushed. And he's like, it has been, countless times. In that case, I'm sure those around you would handle things. It's like, scary. It's like, but if you're not interested, that's how it is. We're done talking. It's like, and the young lady? Isn't the young lady a possibility? And Suwon's like, I've never considered that. And he's like, oh, there's one more thing I wanted to ask. You knew about my mother, right? It's like, we weren't really acquainted, but I've kept an eye on the Crimson Dragon King's descendants over the centuries. And he's like, how many of those descendants have recovered from the Crimson Sickness? And he's like, none. I feel bad for the lad and the fellow. I feel bad for the lad and the fellow. The sickness isn't something Senju herbs and cure. It's like, why didn't you tell them that? It's like, the lad and your physician still would have needed to test it for themselves. Your illness reminds me of the other dragons. It's like they're fated to have short lives. It's like, you're saying the other three don't have long to live? It's the cost of unearthly powers and blood. That cost will be demanded by the next dragon whether they want it or not. It's like, but I'm an ordinary human. It's like, true. Then again, the Crimson Dragon became human over the heavens' objections. It's like, it was written in my mother's diary that King Gale had tucked away. According to my grandfather, my clan is short-lived because the dragon gods are calling the Crimson Dragon King back to the heavens. If that's true, what an incredible nuisance. It's like, I can't die just yet. Not until I defeat the Kai Empire and make Koka into a powerful nation that can't be threatened. Until it reaches that ideal state, I absolutely cannot. And Zeno's like, are you sleepy? It's like, I took some medicine earlier. I can't spare the time to sleep, but the pain interferes with my work. It's like, lack of sleep will shorten your life. It's like, I don't have enough time. And Zeno's like, even with all the time you could want, nothing will ever go just as you wish. But someday, my journey will come to an end. And when it does, I'll try to grant your wish, even if it means turning my back on the gods. And we have Chapter 209, A Secret Order. We have Scythe Kai Yukio, the Phoenix Palace. So it was a phoenix that he's got tattooed on his head. And you have, you wish to see me, Emperor Changol? Or Chagol. I don't know why I put an N in there. It's like, General Val, you've known Maignan for years, And he's like, yes, I had that great honor. Lady Maignan was still a general then. He's like, were you intimate? It's like, no, nothing of the sort. It's like, well, whatever. The cat's still wandering Koka and hasn't come back to me. Could you go and bring her home? And he's like, you want me to go to Hiryu Palace? It's like, not as a messenger. I want you to steal her back. And he crushes this fruit he has in his fist. He's like, steal her? We don't know what her current circumstances in Hiryu Palace are. He's like, I don't care. Maybe she's their king's mistress now, maybe she's already dead. But no matter what's become of her, we must go after this runaway cat. He's like, but war is looming. As a general, I lead thousands of men. And he goes, another general will cover for you. Make no mistake, you are one of the best of South Kai's 8 great generals. That's why I'm entrusting my stray cat to you. I'll grant you the use of the Dromos. Use them well. You see these shadowy assassin guys like looming up behind him. He's like, the Dromos, Emperor Chagol's personal assassination squad. To use them means... He's like, wait, what are you sending me to do? He goes, you'll infiltrate Hiryu Palace once the battle begins, when it's lightly guarded. Since you're going all the way there, I want you to carve our empire's mark onto Kuto. And you see outside him going, what a pain. I'd rather be at the front. Jeff, pardon me, General Val. We hear there's about to be a big battle with Koka. Allow me to wish you the best of luck. This is a good luck charm. And Ligero just like hands it to him and she's like walks away all giddy and blushing. It's like, well, aren't you popular? Why not marry all of them? Jeff, 2 years ago, it's like, General Val. It's like, General, well done on your military exercises. Allow me to get you some refreshments. Like, me too, me 3. Yeah, well, aren't you popular? It's like, why not marry all of them? It's like, General Maignan. It's like, General, you have such slender arms. How can you hold your own against men? Jeff, it's like, she fights dirty. She even poisons her weapons. It's like, shut up. It's like, and today she's kind of smelly. He's like, what? It's like, they sure are close, huh? It's like, I'm jealous. It's like, yeah. And Magnan's like, I'm wearing perfume today. It's impossible for me to be smelly. It's like, hey, you're wearing a lot of makeup too. How come? It's like, today I have an audience with Emperor Chagol. He's like, oh? It's like, His Imperial Highness has shown interest in beautiful female generals. If all goes well, I could become a concubine. He's like, oh ho! It's like, it's like, don't scoff. Want me to break your nose? It's like, are you okay with it? We might not be able to be so friendly anymore. Are you sure you don't want to confess your love while you still have a chance? I'd reject you, though. It's like, no need, I'm fine. And yeah, soon afterward, it actually happened. Whether it was because she admired the emperor or because she wanted status, I thought it was fine as long as she was happy. But then, oh, God. You see her looking all beaten and bruised, going, could you look after Ho for a bit? I'm sure she'll be safe with you. And he's like, sure, I don't mind. It's like, be patient, Ho, I'll be back. And he's like, hey. It's like, she begged me not to ask any questions and left. He's like, what's with those injuries? It's like, she used to get plenty battered as a general, but I no longer had any way of knowing what was happening in the palace. He's like, I'm going to bring her back. But what'll happen to her once she's here? And you see, Kin Province, Earth Tribe territory, you have Lord Gunte. It's like, yeah? It's like, how are things going? It's like, Jess, look, we have so much iron ore. Until recently, we always ran short thanks to South Kai's pillaging. But thanks to the guards you station here, we can focus on our mining without worry. It's like, glad to hear it. Hold out just a bit longer. Very soon now, King Suwon and an army of warriors from all of Koka's tribes will deal with South Kai. It's like, all of the tribes? Incredible! It's like, until then, the Earth Tribal army will defend you. If anything happens, let me know. It's like, we will! So I'm so grateful for Lord Gunte. His son was just born, so he must want to go back to Chishin Palace as soon as possible. Yet here he is, personally guarding the border. His mere presence makes the village feel more vibrant. Yeah, Lord Gunte, it's South Kai! It's like, are they here to ransack us again? It's like, how many? It's like 100. It's like, right then. This is a preliminary skirmish. It's like, Lord Gunte is heading into battle. Yeah, follow me, Earth Tribe warriors, as he takes off with a bunch of cavalry, and he's just cutting down a bunch of men. It's like a true god of battle. I never imagined getting to see Lord Gunte fight up close. Like, he's tough. How are we struggling against so few? And he's like, scatter them! And you see this little kid that looks like Huck just watching, like, with all this, like, look of awe on his face. Like, Lord Gunte! He's like, yeah, wow! It's like, hey, come back, Kalgan. It's like, Lord Gunte! Oh, it's that fucking kid from, how much ever far back, isn't it? It's like, that's incredible. You pretty much beat them single-handed. You were just like Huck. And he's like, Huck? It's like, yeah, Huck strikes down his enemies like lightning with his glaive. And Gunte's like, there's only one person that can be. He's like, hey, let me touch your sword. It's like, Kalgan. He's like, not now, later on. And he says, like, get down, boy. And he jumps down. You see 3 arrows that all strike him in the back as he slumps over with the Lord Gunte. It's like, this is terrible. He's like, careful, there's still soldiers around. And you see another volley of arrows raining down on his men. It's like, don't panic, resume battle formation. It's like, but, it's like, never mind me, go. It's like, Lord Gunte, Lord Gunte. Oh, god damn. And you see more arrows flying towards him. And you see Hawk coming in, using his blade as a shield to block the arrows. Nice. You have chapter 210, a grave injury. He's like, Huck! He's like, Kalgan, you okay? It's come fine, but Lord Gunte, he protected me. And Huck sees the troops like massing above on the cliff above, and he's like, Yun, help Gunte. He's like, okay. He's like, Kalgan is dangerous, keep back. And you see, there's more arrows flying down onto the soldiers. It's like, curses, we can't get near them. Our arrows can't reach them either. It's like, is Lord Gunte alright? It's like, I don't know. It's like, calm down, stay together. It's like, everyone is shaken up. What should I do? See Russell and Huck's just grabbing this guy's arrows and bows. It's like, who are you? What are you doing? It's like, sorry, I'm just borrowing your bow for a bit. It's like, are you a villager? You need to stay back. And they're like, wait, I've seen him before. Huh? Aren't you from the Wind Tribe, the Thunder? And he's like, let me introduce myself. I'm a new recruit in the Sky Tribe army. He takes a bow, just knocks 3 arrows all at once. And with a thunk, 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 he just takes out 3 soldiers effortlessly, knocks some more arrows, and just starts firing off rapid volley. It's like, they all hit home. That Sky Tribe rookie's amazing. They're like, no, that's the Thunder. And you see, that guy, get that man. Here they come. And Huck just hops onto the soldier's horse, like, let me ride behind you. Do you have a huh? And as they're heading towards it, he's just using his glaive to shatter all the arrows out of the sky. He's like, veer right. It's like, okay. Like, fires, like, now left. Huck just effortlessly snatches an arrow out of the air. He's like, hold my glaive. Knocks it, shoots it back, and he has this murderous look on his face. And like, retreat! Retreat! It's like, are you sure? It's we managed to injure Guntei, that's plenty. We'll return another time. It's too dangerous to go up against that. I'm like, whoa, they're withdrawing. It's like, that guy's no rookie. This guy told you he's the Thunder. And he's like, Hawk, you came. And he's like, sure. It's like, I was in the area, so I dropped by. Glad the timing worked out. How's Guntei? He's like, well... And you see he's heavily bandaged up. And they're like, Yun's like, to be honest, his injuries are quite severe. He took 3 arrows in the back. He's lucky to be alive. His recovery will be difficult. I don't think General Guntei will be able to fight anymore. It's like, no way. Say it isn't so, boy. It's like, it's my fault. Lord Guntei got hurt because of me. It's like, Yun, please, save Lord Guntei. And you see back with Yuno, she drops the cup. She's like, no, Lord Guntei. It's like, we're told he was wounded in Kin province. They say he can't be moved. It's like, impossible, not a Lord Guntei. And you see Judo reporting the news to Suwon. Is like, Guntei is badly injured? Keishuk's like, a messenger brought the news this morning. South Kai's soldiers were driven back, but then made a surprise attack on the general. And they're like, and his condition is critical? Yes, it's unlikely he'll be able to go into battle anymore. Like, that idiot? It's like, King Suwon. It's like, the Earth Tribe territories will be at the front lines of this war. General Guntei has an uncanny ability to draw people to his side. If he's taken down before the war even begins, the Earth Tribe will instantly collapse. This is when we need to prepare ourselves and unify the 5 tribes. But now, on top of King Suwon showing symptoms, General Guntei has been injured. This is an immense blow. You see a young lady, or it's Yona apparently having a dream. You have young lady. It's like, Zeno. It's like, what's wrong? What are these coffins? And she moves off the lid and she's Gija resting in one. It's like, Gija, Sinha, Jeha. It's like, but why? It's like, the end of their lives has come. It's like, the end of... It's like, look, they too. And sees another one with Mayon and Suwon in there. And she sees a giant, thing as, the Hiryu Palace is bursting into flame. It's like, Hiryu Palace is... Zeno, where are you? All of you! And she wakes up with a jolt. It's like a dream. And Jeha's like, what is it, Yona? And she screams. And Jeha's just like, are you alright, Your Highness? As he, lashes out towards her. It's like, did you do anything inappropriate? He's like, hey, Kija. It's like, no, not at all. I was just startled. It's like, how dare you startle Her Highness? It's like, let go. Is all the free time getting to you? It's like, thank goodness. They're all okay. It's like, young lady, did you have a scary dream? It's like, Zeno, listen. It's like, Yona. And Sinha comes in and says, Advisor Keishuk has come. Want to see him? And Keishuk goes, forgive my coming so late at night. It's like, what is it? It's like, I have a request. His Majesty's health is declining. By all rights, he should be resting right now. But he'll most likely go to the battlefield. I cannot stop him. It's like, what do you want me to do? I'd like you to stay by his side during the battle in South Kai. It's like, Keishuk, what are you saying? It's like, if the worst occurs and something happens to His Majesty, I'd like you to command Koka's army. So, quick thoughts on the chapter. Not a lot to say. I will say Maignan is growing on me as a character. Even if she isn't, super duper evil bad, but that's fine. I much prefer her design with the shorter hair. She looks much more gorgeous that way. I love the fact that her swordsmanship had gotten notice from both Judo and Huck. Even though she kind of got her ass handed to her. But I guess, with the whole Crimson Dragon sickness thing, kind of makes sense. Apart from that, I'm curious about Suwon's absolute denial of Yona's not going to become the next ruler. I haven't even considered her. I wonder if that's just because of the lingering resentments and stuff he has because of the whole Crimson Dragon King. He wants Koka to completely divest of that lineage and its ties to it. Or if there's something else more to that, I'd like to see more of that explored. Apart from that, I feel like I liked little bits of we got of South Kai. I hope Chagol, he's already a bastard. I hope he stays a bastard towards the end. But apart from that, I do wonder if Yona's dream is her, quote unquote, inheriting her mother's prophetic visions. Because I feel like that's what the insinuation is. Because again, I feel like I've mentioned this theory, speculation, before. on some older videos, but I'll kind of just reiterate it here. But I definitely do feel like the very end of the series is at some point, in some way, going to deal with Yona finding a way to, basically get rid of like the divine power, send it back to heaven, whatever it is, so that the dragon warriors can live, normal human lives. And I feel like whatever it will be will also be used to help cure the Crimson Dragon sickness. And I feel like the end of this chapter is kind of like confirming my theory idea regarding that. With Yona's like whole prophetic vision of like, the Crimson Dragons don't have long, blah blah blah. So I'm curious to see if that's gonna play out how I think it is. Because again, like Kashik's like, Senju Herb's not gonna cure anything, but if Senju Herb gets like a divine boost from like the magic dragon powers, I feel like that could be a way to circumvent it by being like, got super boosted by the dragon powers, so it's healing, restorative, whatever is greater. So yeah, we'll see if that comes true as well. I feel like again, like the conflict stuff always starts off really good, so I feel like the next volume stuff dealing with that should be really good. So I'm looking forward to that. Apart from that, not a lot to say. Very, very, very plot packed. So yeah, enjoyed a lot of it, but waiting to see kind of how it all shakes up before commenting on it further. So like I said, I'll probably get around to volume 37 as well today, just so we can wrap up the current batch of volumes that I have. Like I mentioned, I've got 38 on hold of my library. Whenever it comes in, I will do a reaction to that, but I don't have an estimate for that yet, so look out for an update on whenever that will be happening. As always, if you like my content, please do consider like, commenting, subscribing, all that good stuff. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it really does help me out a lot promoting my videos, all that. And, if just in general, if you do like these videos, it helps me know as well. And until next time, this is Ash. I'll talk to you all later.